Okay, our third zucchini. Let's turn our bread over, nicely toasted. Now that our marinara sauce is simmering nicely, instead of taking the time to cut all of these tomatoes up, sometimes I take them out of the can, just pick them up, and break them up with my hands. Today, I'm going to use the trick that I've taught my wife, and that's a potato masher. That's why I was saying let it simmer a little bit to get them softened a little bit. And you have to be careful because sometimes it does squirt a little bit. I simply take the potato masher and I go around and crush all the tomatoes. Do it slow because sometimes they're a little bit firm and they will release their juice. That's why, again, you want to let it get a little bit soft. And we're just simply crushing it down so we have a nice coarse texture. We don't want this really smooth, like a very smooth tomato gravy that you might make that we sometimes call a Sunday gravy. Take your time, not too much pressure needed, but you're going to just crush all these tomatoes. And you'll see it'll have a nice coarse texture that when you serve this on some nice macaroni, you'll have big hunks of tomato. Here we go. I think we're about good with this. Of course, if you like it finer, either break them up by hand beforehand or just continue to go around and crush them up. One piece off of there. Give it a nice little stir. Okay, now we have to add one more thing to this. We need some nice fresh basil. When we're working with basil, we like to take the basil leaves and we like to pile them up one on top of another. Make a nice little stack of them. And then we're going to just simply roll them up. Basil's a pretty delicate herb, so when you chop basil, it tends to blacken a bit. So we roll it up, and then we take a knife and we gently slice through it like this. See how the tip stays on the board? And it's this rocking and sliding motion. Now watch, with the basil, I'm slicing through it. I'm not chopping it, I'm slicing. So what's happening is it's letting go these very fine little shreds, which is called chiffonade. Now, if you don't want it in such long pieces, after I chiffonade that, I'll simply go across the other way and I'll make a couple of slices to take those shreds and make them a bit smaller. Now I've got some nice little fluffy short threads of basil that I can sprinkle into my tomato marinara sauce. Okay, we're going to give that a little shot of fresh pepper. I'm going to hold back from putting any salt yet because this is going to reduce down. Check our bread. Perfect. I've shut our pan off so our bread can sit right there. And now I've got a little bit of fresh breadcrumbs here that I'm going to mix with some fresh grated cheese, a little pinch of salt, some pepper, and now I'm going to take a clove of garlic and I'm simply going to, with the tip of my knife, start to scrape away and make some little garlic paste. And then I can just mash that paste up. Going to add that right into my stuffing. Got a little bit of fresh parsley here. Just kind of rolling that up into a little pile. And then what I want to do is just coarsely chop that parsley to add it to my stuffing. Get that big stem out. If you notice, you're never hearing this. When they do that on television, they're making the knife dull, and every time they film another one of those cooking shows with the big networks, they get a brand new set of knives. We can't afford a brand new set of knives, and it would be a sin to waste them anyway, so we're just being careful, which is what you should do. I'll lower down my marinara sauce, give it another stir. It's smelling wonderful. It's smelling wonderful. It's really, really just about ready to put on some macaroni if you wanted to do that right now. Now in this, to moisten it, I need to add a little bit of olive oil. And I want to just moisten this stuffing mixture enough that it holds together when you squeeze it with your hands. So I first mix it up with a fork. Then I'll get in there with my hands and give it a little squeeze so I can feel if it's in fact going to grab a little bit with your hand, give it a squeeze, and it stays together. And that's exactly what I'm looking for. So it's all moistened. I'm going to take my zucchini now and I'm going to stuff it. And as soon as each round is stuffed, I'm going to plop them down right into my marinara sauce. Sitting in this little restaurant, didn't even have a sign. It's on a little back street in Rome. And we're looking at the menu, and I'm remembering things I ate last time and wondering what else I can order. And all of a sudden I see this come out, and that was it. I knew this is the one I had to have. And this was like an intermediary course. We ordered a first course, then I ordered this, then I ordered some osso buco, and I think we ordered something else, and then it was time for dessert. And since I'm not a big sweet eater, and I don't really speak Italian, so all I could think of that I wanted was a peach. So I saw these wonderful, wonderful peaches, and fortunately I knew how to say that in Italian, so when they came and asked us what we wanted for dessert, I said, un pesca, un pesca. And when I bit into that peach and the juice ran down my neck, I knew I had the best peach. Let me just rinse my hands. Quick little cleanup here. Start my own little garbage pile on the end. Okay, the next thing I want to do before I cover this is to add a couple of eggs. This is a dish known as eggs in purgatory. So what we're going to do, we're going to make a nice little depression of the heavy tomato sauce. I'm pushing away the heavy pieces so that the egg will fall into a nice little liquid pocket. And I'm going to just break the egg and put that gently into the tomato sauce. They're called eggs in purgatory because we're going to put a little bit of crushed hot pepper with it. Now you can understand the purgatory term. A little bit of my crushed hot pepper to spice this up a little bit right where the eggs are. And now to finish it off, a little bit of mozzarella cheese. That's where the term pizza eggs comes from. There's 3 little bundles here, gently poaching in this marinara sauce.